What the hell do dads really want? Has anyone ever asked that question?
You're watching AfroDaddy. Hey, that's my dad!
Hey there, welcome to AfroDaddy. So if you see the title to this video, you'll know it's about asking the question, what do dads really want? And this is something you might not even have ever thought of asking, and maybe you're kind of thinking, should we even be asking the question? But I do think we should be asking the question because I think the more we understand dads, the more we can help them be better dads. Maybe. And if you are a father yourself, ask yourself the question, what do I really want? Liam, what do you think dads want? What do dads want?
Well, maybe 260,000 pieces of chocolate.
That is not a bad answer. Good job. Quick side note, I think spring is coming early because this bush is full of bees, like it's buzzing right now. And why am I standing underneath it? That's a mistake. That was a mistake. Whew, bees are good, but scary. Anyway, I asked this question on social media last week and I specifically wanted dads to answer, or for people to ask dads and then give their answers. I didn't want people to give opinions about what they thought dads want. I wanted actual dads to give their actual answers. And I think my favorite answer, which I could relate to so much, was this one from Matt in Africa. And he posted it publicly, so I'm okay with putting his name there. But yes, to just be able to take a crap in peace without anyone knocking on the door or shouting that his brother's messing with his toys, just to quietly do your business. There were other really good ones that I could completely relate to, like more boy toys and more time with your friends and more gardening time and more beer time and more chill time alone away from the family. All good stuff. And then there were the other dads who wanted to make the rest of us look bad by saying things like, I want my kids to be safe and happy, and that sort of sentiment. Come on. But seriously though, I think all the dads who engage with AfroDaddy stuff and who are in this community feel the same way. And I could totally relate to that too, right? I mean, I really want my kids to be safe and happy and to grow up to be well-educated, well-rounded men who care for people around them and respect everybody and potentially are like leaders in their community. That's really things that I want. But if you watched enough of these AfroDaddy videos, you know that there's normally a bait and switch, and that is coming later tonight because I've got to do some other actual work now. So, chat to you later. Cool. Okay. Family has been fed, bathed, and put to bed. Anyway, here's the big bait and switch. I've been asking what dads want, but what we should be asking is, what do dads need? Because the fact is, you can't always get what you want, but if you try, you get what you need. And I think I'm the first person in the world ever to say that. But seriously though, the question of what dads actually need is much more important, much bigger, and has a bigger effect than what dads think they actually want. I keep saying they, I should say we, what we think we want. So what do dads actually need? And look, it's one of those questions that can have multiple answers, but I think one big answer is they need to learn how to talk. Dads as a group just suck at talking about what they feel about being a parent and what they're struggling with and what they think they've done well at, and are really bad at asking for help and giving help and all of those things that come with communication. Now, if you're a woman watching this right now, you might go, that's ridiculous. It's easy to talk about how you feel and talk about your experiences. You just use the words that you've learned and think about how you feel and then connect the two and then let it come out of your mouth. Like it seems simple, right? And it is simple if you've been shown how to do it your entire life. And that's what I keep harping on about. We do not show men how to communicate and how to talk about what's going on inside, what's going outside, and things that are really important. We don't teach that to men. And fathers need to learn how to do that much better. Because the reality is, you can't form a relationship with someone if you aren't communicating with them, and you can't support each other if there's no communication. And yes, that works in a family, but that also works in bigger groups, right? How can dads support each other if we aren't talking to each other? I mean, that was the point of AfroDaddy in the first place. When I started AfroDaddy 5 years ago, I wanted to make a place that was by dads, for dads. Just dads talking to each other and communicating and supporting each other in this awesome community that we're building. And I completely failed at doing that. I'm a fatherhood blogger, and the vast majority of people who are consuming my content are women. Now, as I said before, if you are a woman watching this, and you are one of my supporters, long-term, short-term, whenever, thank you so much for being here. I appreciate you so much. You are valuable. The point isn't that there are too many women consuming AfroDaddy. The point is that there are too few men. And to be fair, that number is changing. There is definitely a trend of more fathers coming into AfroDaddy. There are definitely more dad bloggers and dad Instagrammers happening around the world and in South Africa. And there are more people talking about fatherhood. But trust me, as someone who's been doing this for 5 years, the change has been painfully slow. Painfully slow. Oh, so slow. To be honest with you, there have been lots of times that I felt really lonely making content for dads or fatherhood-related content. I felt like I'm just this guy by myself screaming into the wind, hoping someone hears me. But yes, that's kind of in the past, and things are starting to change very slowly, but change is happening. And that's really exciting, and I would love for AfroDaddy to be even more of a part of that change. I would love the space to be a place where dads can come to be inspired, where dads can come to feel supported, and where dads can learn to talk to each other and to the people around them about issues affecting parents and fathers, and to be part of this bigger conversation of how we can help our kids become better people. And look, I wasn't really planning on talking about my big secret dream for AfroDaddy today, but I may as well. I've told other people about it. I may as well tell you. This is the big blue sky dream for AfroDaddy, and I'm going to tell you what it is, and I'm going to tell you why I don't think it's going to happen anytime soon. So stick with me. My big dream for AfroDaddy is for it to not be just me talking to camera or writing the blog posts or hosting the podcasts. My big dream for AfroDaddy is for it to be expanded to include 10 to 15 other dads who are giving their opinions, who are making great content, who are feeding into the AfroDaddy ecosystem. And effectively what I want to be able to say is that AfroDaddy isn't about this dad who has an afro. AfroDaddy is about anyone who believes that being a dad is an incredibly important role for a man to play. It's a big deal, and I want everyone to buy into it. Now, even though I do believe that it is good to kind of say your dream out loud and verbalize it, because otherwise you won't really work on it, I also believe that it's important to be real about the difficulties and struggles you might face getting there. So the number one difficulty I would face, or at least the first difficulty I would face, is finding those 10 to 15 dads, because there aren't a lot of dads doing this kind of content. There are not a lot of dads out there doing the work in the space that I'm doing. That would be a struggle. And yes, there are a few dads who are really starting to investigate how they can be online and talk about fatherhood and create this content, especially on Instagram. But they haven't been doing it for long, and I would kind of want these guys to have done this work for at least 6 months to a year, just so that I can see what they believe, what they feel, and really work out if they truly represent the AfroDaddy values. Okay, that really sounds self-important, but what I mean by that is that AfroDaddy has always had these values in place. We believe that we need to be looking forward towards our children's future, that our roles as parents and as fathers is to help them become the people that they are meant to be and to help them become good people, that we need to respect everyone around us, that everyone is deserving of respect and to be treated well and to feel safe and to thrive. You know, that might be known as being a feminist in some circles. So there's definitely that slant. We want to be able to speak openly and honestly about things we struggle with. We don't want to hold back. We don't want to make ourselves look better than what we actually are. And finding 10 to 15 men who encapsulate all of those values right now would be really hard. And what I don't mean by that is that these guys don't exist and that there aren't really good dads in South Africa right now just like that. What I mean is those guys aren't creating fatherhood content right now. But let's say I did find those 10 to 15 men who would be constantly creating great content and great conversations with AfroDaddy and inspiring men and bringing them in and supporting them and building this amazing community. I would need to pay them, right? You do not get high quality content for free. And even if I could get it for free, I wouldn't want to give it for free because hard work requires compensation. I would not be able to pay for even one person right now to add content onto AfroDaddy because that's expensive. And right now, AfroDaddy is kind of just breaking even when it comes to the costs of the equipment and the web hosting and all the other stuff. That's the next problem. But I hear you say, but hey, why don't you get a big sponsor on board and then you can use those funds to pay for the content? That's a good idea, and there have been lots of people who have made that work. But the problem I'm facing is that to convince a sponsor to come on board and spend the amount of money that would be needed to really get the machine going, I would need to have the content, and I would need to have the content creators ready to go. But to convince the content creators to start creating the content and to come on board with this endeavor, I would need the sponsor. But to get the sponsor, I need the content creators. But to get the content creators, I need the sponsor, and so forth and so on. And you see the catch-22 that I'm in. It's a problem. Then, of course, there's the problem of managing something like that, kind of making sure that the content gets put out at the right place by the right people at the right time, and that all of the social media is managed effectively. That's a full-time job in and of itself. So either I would have to find a way to be paid for that, or I'd have to pay someone else for that, which again adds to the previous problem. So, long story short, I don't see that happening anytime soon, unless I like win the lottery or like a mysterious uncle that I never knew I had, puts me in his will and I get that inheritance. I don't know. That's never gonna happen, is the reality. So, since that is the case and that is the reality, I'm going to keep on doing what I'm doing, which is to make content that represents dads and represents dads as well as I can. I'm going to continue to encourage and support dads who contact me through AfroDaddy. If a dad contacts me and says that he's really keen to start an Instagram page or a blog or a vlog or a podcast, I will help him as much as I possibly can. And I'll keep trying to beat the drum that dads need to learn how to talk to each other. That's all I can do right now, right? That's all the capacity I have, considering that I'm studying and working and, also being a dad and a husband and doing all the things that come with that as well. It's a lot. Look, hopefully one day I can get to that dream, and to be honest, it is a bit of a selfish dream. It's kind of this fantasy that I've had in my head for a while, but even if I can't, it has been incredibly encouraging to see more dads come online and talk openly and honestly about fatherhood. It's great for me to see. I feel encouraged and supported. So if you are someone who's just started their Instagram page or their fatherhood blog or podcast or whatever, and you want help, please contact me. Send me an email to afrodaddyct@gmail.com, or contact me on the website or the Facebook page or the Instagram page or wherever, and I'll see if I can help you. But also, even if you don't, just know that even if you are starting out and you have 100 followers, you are doing good work, and someone like me will feel inspired and supported by someone like you. And that is worthwhile doing. Anyway, thank you so much for watching this episode of AfroDaddy. I've tried a new lighting setup for this, and I kind of like it. The blue light behind me, the slightly orangey light here. Maybe it works. We'll see if it all comes together in the edit. Thank you so much for watching. Remember, please subscribe to the website, AfroDaddyOnline.com, and that way you can get all the newest and freshest AfroDaddy content. But for me, cheers for now.
You're watching AfroDaddy. Hey, that's my dad!